Hi there. It's Michael André Ford in San Antonio, Texas, your American Angel Intuitive. It's 2024. Happy New Year to everyone watching. I offer a very unique service. This is something that's so direct. People can get a little shy either before meeting up with me, not really during, but afterwards as well. It's just a little thinking kicking in. We all do tons of thinking. I do thinking, judging, feeling, reacting to stuff, rejecting stuff as well. What's awesome about what I offer folks is it's the opportunity just to be here. You're doing it all day long. You've done it all your life. You've probably done it more as a kid or as an athlete or when you're in the zone with whatever you do really well in life when you're having fun. That's all this is. You're connecting to the universe fully with no barriers. And that means you get to full on see, chat with, interact with, feel, getting hugs that can become healing, unconditional love beings of all different varieties. So a lot of talk in the last few years from the UFO UAP crowd has been about interdimensionality. And I think that's an okay way to look at this. I think the near-death experience crowd as well might refer to it this way. There's definitely a lot of different flows and energy in life. There's unconditional love, and then there's other. So if you're looking at a lot of social media posts, you're getting stressed out, you think the world is going a certain direction, ask yourself, are you looking at the word love, unconditional love? Are you looking at positivity, or are you looking at unlove? Most of what we see out there, most of what we put our focus on tends to be unlove. That's okay. We're going to keep doing lots of thinking, lots of reacting, lots of judging. But my reminder, and I think it's really Angel's reminder to us all, is 7% less thinking a week or day is the Olympic gold medal standard for all of us. And if you get a calculator out on an iPhone, I think that comes out to like 1.8 hours a day, 2 hours a day, just less thinking. So that means read a book, hug a tree, meditate, walk your dog. There's a million ways to be here. There's 5 million ways to be up here. And that's your responsibility. It's kind of these micro moments, micro choices. It's unconsciousness up here, consciousness here. There's 1,000 or 10,000 ways that man has over the centuries tried to describe what's here. I just say unconditional love, the heart, being open, opening openness, consciousness, awareness. You have unlimited abilities for sensory stuff. You can get any answer to any question for any topic. This is great for business, relationships, career, health, you name it. You just have to have the guts to show up, to be willing to ask a question, and to be willing to listen. And that just means getting out of what you know long enough to do pure listening here. And also, how fast can you operate one of these? So the record's 49 pages of answers from an Australian. I just checked in every 2 hours. You take a few steps to get used to this concept, to get used to getting into your center and allowing with a capital A. So you're connecting to the universe with no boundaries. Angels are helping you relax more and more. You feel compassion come in. Some people get weepy-eyed, others yawn a lot. It's just a little bit of letting go or a lot of letting go of what they're carrying or holding on to. We all have our version of reality up here, and that's perfectly fine. I don't want to tell anybody a thing. I don't want to help change their thinking at all. I mean, I wish them well. I want them to keep doing what they're doing. I always want to see improvement, expansion, growth for us all. We're all on our unique life path. We're all fearless, inner, peaceful warriors doing our thing. The more you sort of wake up to what's possible, no limits, the more the universe works with you. There's the unconditional love crowd of beings, angels, loving guides from the religious circles, Mary, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, St. Francis, and so on. Non-religious figures. There's Native American chiefs, figures from India, Plato, Einstein, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca. It's 170 plus figures, not counting all the guardian angels people have met and their personal angels. Everyone has a cheerleading squad. So nobody wants to interfere. This isn't about signing up for something, joining a club, joining a group, joining an organization, an institute. This is more about they know how you roll already, and each person has their own unique thought form, structure, what they resist, what they welcome. Angels know how to navigate that all to say everything just the right way. So it's not just all languages, all dialects. If you're from India, hear your answer in Hindi or Telugu. It's also them being able to navigate all this stuff up here as an adult. We do a lot of adulting to reach you here. And here is already ready to go. Here is a professional Formula One driver. Here is the number one opera singer in the world. Here is the best soccer player in the world on the pitch. You know what to do already, but part of you will resist what I will say is good for you. I don't know how else to say it. A lot of people run for the hills. That's okay. Again, I've done it. You've done it for other situations. When the time is right, that's when this happens. It could be in dream time. It could be being on your deathbed. It could be disaster happen, a divorce, a sudden layoff, a car accident. Life has a lot of ebbs and flows, but the universe is standing by to help you kind of dance more with life, to have more fun, more sparkle, more zip. So you can meet angels. There's no hierarchy or structure. You get to see them full on without wings, with wings. I like to do it both ways. There's tons of people who, if they just left to their own devices, would only do it one way or the other way. I like to make sure a person gets a full experience, smelling the ocean, smelling flowers, smelling sage, seeing light. Celestine Prophecy, James Redfield did us a great service in his film, Celestine Prophecy, with a lot of famous actors. I think they did it this way in a jungle scene, but in India, they do it this way, and you see light between your fingers. You can see light on your hands, your arms, your dog, trees. You can see light actually moving and flowing between people. That's pretty wild. And to extrapolate out on that, you can ask an angel to come in and have light objects like butterflies come off your light stream. It's a lot to take in, but it's very Disney-esque and it's very light. It's filled with joy. Joy is the very first angel that you get to meet. She's a pink ball of light. I got super lucky with photographs. Early on, I was in a complete panic, like I think any good American should be, when I started to hear, feel, and have stuff happen. I had sort of an opening or an awakening or whatever people call it, back around 2011, 2012, somewhere in there. A lot of really amazing experiences when I look back, a lot of miraculous stuff. You can see angels in full on human form. So here's my suggestion. Just chalk this all off to maybe a wish list or possibility, but don't discount it if you could help it. There's 100 testimonials at the website. In a way, the Angels Positivity and Love show is sort of a testimonial. The show is not about proving anything. The show is about having wonderful experts from all over the world come in, share their sort of development in life, what they've experienced, what they're headed towards to have more of in their life, how they help others, their unique projects or skills, and their outlook too. Sometimes it's an industry outlook if it's business or the holistic wellness area. Other times it's an artist or a Jungian therapist, or they're talking about dream time. We had Lorna Byrne, the Irish angel mystic, who's super famous, international bestseller multiple times, I think like 12, 13 books. We had her on, and I was super shy with her, but I was so thankful to have her on. She paid me a compliment, and I said the word good, and I was like, oh my God. It's super hard being a host for a show. I do the best I can on that. But I got to blow her sage, and I blew sage from Texas through 2 screens to Ireland, and she said she didn't smell it, but she did get daisies and roses. So the point of this is we operate in a linear, limited fashion when we're in the brain. If you're a scientist, a former government official, you're trying to push for more disclosure on whether aliens exist, alien technology, what this contractor's been doing, what the government's been doing, that's a long slog. You're asking actors to act in an opposite way than they've been acting for the last 5 years, 50 years, 75 years. You're asking for people to suddenly take the high path in life, the high road in life. I would argue that meeting angels, meeting light beings, if angels are like dolphins, light beings are like whales, meeting guides, loving figures, Mother Teresa, Mary, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Sai Baba, Vishnu, Krishna, Ganesh, and so on. You can meet The Power of Myth, Joseph Campbell, Joe. He's fantastic. These folks all know exactly what your life path has been about, all your details. You're not getting judged on anything. They know how to come in and gently interact with you. For the first few steps that you take, You can be super hesitant or shy about it, but the good news is my whole role or purpose is to help you get comfortable getting into the pool. And I know exactly what we're talking about here. When it comes to like a pool party, I'm the last one. I would never cannonball right in, dip a toe in or a finger to feel if the pool water is warm, comfortable. Even then, an ankle level of getting into the pool might be a half an hour, up to my knee an hour later. That's kind of what this is about. It looks scary, who wants to just cannonball into the pool? Although there's plenty of those folks. And I always relish those moments. I meet somebody who's like, no, let's do it. And they're excited. Who wouldn't want to meet angels? Who wouldn't want to meet one of their passed over loved ones as well, or a pet? It gets pretty big, and sometimes there's a lot of leaky pipes up here, but there's a lot of ways to handle it so that you, again, baby step it and take small steps. One act of letting go, though, is worth 25 of those steps. Again, blowing some sage your way, I'll do that in a second. You can smell the sage. I only have one bit of rule or structure besides like pen and paper would be really nice on a clipboard or something to write on. But the number one rule is just give yourself a break, set your intent, ask angels to make it nice. Part of this whole unconditional love thing is there's no interference. The view is you're getting everything as it is right now in life perfectly. You only have to wake up, pay attention to, or slow down to appreciate more what's happening around you. Your thinking is like one of those Polaroid cameras from the 70s or 80s. It's snapping away snapshots about your neighbor, about your business boss, about that project, about where you're at, about your stress levels, about what you know. And all that knowing and all that reacting and all that judging, it's real because that's how you're rolling and spending your energy. But it's like a Monopoly game where you're just giving away your cash and giving away your properties to everybody without knowing it. You purposely are wanting to go bankrupt. As soon as you recognize the difference in flows between when you're operating out of your heart and when you're operating out of here, you're off to the races. That's when you can allow the universe to come in. You can allow angels to help remind you what your unique life path actually is, how to get realigned with it again and get going. Angels can completely alter your path. That when it comes to health stuff and healing, which I'm hoping to do more of in the future, that's really between you, the universe, and angels, and and other beings and stuff like that. You have situations that can be addressed, and other stuff you signed up for. So I'll just try to do the Wind and the Lion, or Lawrence of Arabia, kind of a Middle East expression. Some stuff's written, and some stuff is not. So that's the conversation you have with angels about what you can address. And even if something's written, a condition, there's still always a way to ask a question like, how can I experience less pain? And how can I experience more comfort, let's say, going forward? There's always room for addressing something. Nothing is ever completely, infinitely like stacked against you. I don't know how else to say it. I'm enthusiasm. Take me with a grain of salt. My actual role in the future is helping people meet their own guardian angel, their own team, with so many figures up front. You can see that on my first page of my website. It's hard to compete against Mother Teresa and Gandhi, Vishnu, Krishna, Ganesh, Lakshmi, Dull Knife, Red Shirt, Geronimo, White Buffalo, Calf Woman, 70, 100 plus angels. And a person only has probably, a few hours of ability of staying open. This is so big that we're not used to opening openness, and yet that's what we do subconsciously throughout our day. When you, again, I love the light switch example right here. When you hit a light switch, you don't agonize over it. You don't worry about it ahead of time. You don't worry about if you're hitting a light switch while you're doing it. And certainly a week later, you're not losing sleep over that little light switch. You just do it. The light's going to pop on. That's the level of difficulty for everything I'm talking about. You can actually see angels fallen in human form, ask for them to come in. There's a sort of loosey-goosiness to this that you have to allow. You have to get out of your own way to let the universe bring you what I'll call mini miracles or miracles. You can have them show up on your path during the day as you're out and about in town. Sparkly-eyed people straight out of Hollywood casting who say just the right thing that jibes with what you were talking about the night before at the family movie, or what you read in the article during breakfast, or what you were just telling someone over the phone. the synchronicities are incredible, or signs, or whatever you want to call it. That's a great, simple way to kind of ease yourself into the spiritual pool. And even the word spiritual, let's just call it more love, more openness. There's a million cultures. There's the Buddhist community, the near-death experience community, the UFO, UAP disclosure community. There's this community or that community, the transcendental meditation crowd. There's the people who've been assiduously, did I say that right? The people who have been applying themselves continuously for up to 50 years, studying spirituality all around the globe. They are walking encyclopedias. They're published. They're well published. They're the equivalent of Einstein if they were a scientist having documented spirituality. This short circuits all their knowing, because you can hang out with fairies. You can see them. You can chat with them. They're the equivalent of rocket scientists as well. Don't pigeonhole fairies. They can answer any question as well. They're a little bit of a different vibration than angels. They're still unconditional love. It's a big bunch of bandwidth. You can meet a jinn who's East Asian mysticism, who's a super fine fellow. His Encyclopedia Britannica meets the Energizer Bunny. He's been around eons, and he is just a swell fellow. You can walk with these figures, so it would take a lot for a human, a person maybe trained in another country, let's say, and able to meditate for a long time, and maybe to not take anything or themselves too seriously, even all their training for 30 years. I definitely have had one person who's done that, and I just want to put out what's possible. You can see an angel in your hand. That angel can go through 2 screens to someone else's hand, bring him or her in for a hug, and feel it sort of at a quantum level through your body. You can see an angel riding that bike, or behind, sitting at the desk back there, waving hi. You can look out your window and see angels. You can see your own soul up in the sky as sort of what I describe as an aurora borealis. Again, I think most humans find themselves, especially these days with the way the economy and everything else is going, it seems like it's a tighter time, sort of the 80s again. And so people might feel like they need extra help right now. And so you can ask those questions, whether it's practical and about finances, or practical and about job hunting, or what to do about this particular project. But this is also super great for any form of creativity. You're creating a new company. You just need encouragement on creating a new logo. Where to go on vacation, I think, is the #1 question. This is the universe speaking with you directly. I don't see your topics. I don't see your answers. The show itself is a lot of fun on YouTube. I started it basically a year ago in 2023. So 50 episodes were taped. And I'm super lucky with the caliber of guests that have been coming on. They're best-selling authors. They're show hosts themselves. They're well-known spiritual figures, healing figures. They're filmmakers, they're doctors, they're psychiatrists, they're therapists. It goes on and on. World-class ballerina who was East German, originally German, Berlin Ballet, who shared so much in one of the very early interviews. A 50-year plus meditation mindfulness expert who's taught at Omega. I mean, it's a who's who, and it will grow over time. This is the only show. It's youtube.com, and you're probably already there right now, but youtube.com/@ Michael André Ford. But it's the only show where there are real angels and where stuff can really happen. Hopefully in the future, I've got an APL Spotlight series, an offshoot of the show. Hopefully in the future, that's going to be more like a jungle gym where people can come in and kind of just have fun on air and still, tell a little bit about their story, but in a way that doesn't compromise their original appearance in the show, something that adds new flavor. We get to see them breaking a sweat up here as they chat with Archangel Michael, or they chat with Mother Teresa, or they chat with Audrey Hepburn, who's an angel. And let's keep going to some practical stuff. We know that photographs cannot possibly move, historical photographs, but that's not true at all. Audrey Hepburn can wink, smile, eyebrow goes up, shoulders waggle in her photo. The Sai Baba from 100+ years ago, same thing. Will the Sai Baba crowd or the India crowd really want to meet Sai Baba, Krishna, Ganesh, Vishnu, Lakshmi, Rama, and so on? It's not about any one person and how they roll, although it is. It's really just sort of, are you catching them at the right time? Because the person who's shut tight like an oyster on Monday might be able to do this on a Wednesday and be shut tight like an oyster on Friday. And that's all of us. There's a few folks running around saying they're enlightened, but that's a dead giveaway is the expression, I think, that they're judging that they're there. The only there is here. And if you're here, you're loving, you're being kind, you're sharing, you're being considerate, and you're giving everyone even more space than you normally do to just be who they are. Everyone has to go through their own experience. And that's what's funky about today's culture is there's a huge movement to tell people how it is and to tell people which way is up, which way is down. And sometimes that looks like it's even mixed up, complete opposite. Like there's a duck, but it's a cat. Say that it's a cat or you're not our friend. And so this isn't about any of that. This is about you rolling at your own speed, taking your own small steps, and then having the sudden epiphany of what thinking is about, how you've shaped your own reality. And that's such a good way to put it. I mean, time itself is a construct of the mind. Time flies when you're on the show. Time flies when you're doing a session. Time, you can appreciate time more and let angels work with you to work with time in a better fashion so that you're more happy, higher vibe more often. I think it's awesome when a couple gets to meet angels independently. You know, if two people own it solo, they can do it jointly. They don't have to be related. They don't have to be husband and wife. It could be a group setting. You can see angels jointly. You can hear angels jointly. You can hear Geronimo jointly. You don't have to light sage, like I'm going to do in just a second, to smell sage. You can ask Dull Knife. These 3 Native American chiefs since 1970 have been with me when I was 2. I turned 56 in February. But my dad died off the coast of Italy, Naples, nighttime. I'm seeing an angel ball light right here. He was in the US Navy. It was his time to go. He had just turned, I think, 25 a week earlier. And so it was June of 1970. He died in an F-4 Phantom with another gentleman who was a commander in the Navy in the Black Aces. They were marshaling to land on an aircraft carrier, and either an engine flame out, they got disoriented. I got the JAG report, big, thick crash report they did back then that was fully detailed. And it was 28 years later, he got put into Arlington Cemetery around, what's that called? Veterans Day in November 1998. They shut down all 3 airports, did a missing man flight. There was no body ever recovered, so it was a folded flag. My mom had already passed at that point. So I sat in her chair, which was really weird. But all the adults back then who knew my dad had closure on it. It was beautiful. There was a photo of my dad's caisson, the carriage, that made the front page of the Washington Post above the fold. But my point on this is, you know, for a long time, I thought my parents were gone. And this was a big part of my path to later embrace this, helping others, helping myself, stay open as much as possible each day and allow for more. And so hundreds of people have met my mom and dad. They come in in their 20s. They're super cute. It's on my website. I've brought them up on a couple shows. I brought them up on the Dr. Raymond Moody show, episode 50, the last weekend of 2023. And Paul Perry's in that show as well. He's fantastic. New York Times bestseller. Long story short, tons of people have met them. They're super cute. They're fun. They've been around. They know what it's like to pay the bills. And so they give very practical and tactical, down to earth advice. They're reconciled is the best way I can say it. They're not angels, but they're in a nice state. How about that? And that's all this is. There's no negativity here or lower vibration. Again, that's human stuff. We do tons of that. It's going on all around the planet. There's a global slipstream of tons of vibrations down here, like a piano key. And then there's tons of higher and higher and higher vibrations. So learning never stops. Expansion never stops. Again, for the folks walking around who say they're enlightened, that just means they've quit the expansion, loving and allowing and sparkliness that we would want to hang out with. That type of person at a cocktail party or by a pool or at the beach that makes hanging out fun. And, you know, they can come around. Usually the life has a way of reorienting us no matter what. And it's learning to, again, be that inner fearless, peaceful warrior that allows us to get back on our feet and remember what's important here, that bodhisattva path. You have it all is the message. Now, that's a big statement. And then everyone starts to say, but that's okay. If you want to make a roadmap of where you're at in life, let your buts be your instruction. And Byron Katie's great for this. So are many others. We're going to have a Diane with 2 N's, Portia, if I pronounced her name correctly, who was in the Heal documentary, be a guest in the fall. I'm so excited to have her on. But a good listener, a good healer helps you work with the conflicting stuff you've probably lived with for a long time, different currents or flows within you that are essentially blocks that when you allow for a little bit of light to come in, a little bit of breathing, just smiling, yoga, going for a walk, more nature, more touching trees. There's a million ways to start to let go and to let go of your details. And you're never done letting go of details, and the details don't even matter. Just learn to let go and learn how to be here more. The more you're here, the more, like anything else, like a sport, picking up a video game and how to play it, or any other activity, learning how to cook. The more you do it, the more you just fall into an amazing flow, and it happens. So it's really getting to know you. You knew yourself as a kid. You just knew you could climb that tree or you could go and play, and you didn't think twice. So action with no thought, play without any thought, enjoying life in the moment without any thought. That's all this really is. But as humans and as adults and as experts on so many things, we make everything complex. Let's take the scientific community. They're an easy target. I'm so sorry to do this. And this is judging, but it's not. The scientist who's bold, brave, and just remaining open and knows how to listen, oh my gosh, what's going to happen when they pair up with a bunch of angels, light beings? They ask questions, and once in a while they might ask a question where they're told move on, or we can't go there. That's very rare. It's more common that a human shies away from the opportunity to get any answer to any question. It defies our logic. It defies what we know. It defies the million reasons that say this can't be. But I'm off the hook. The photographs, there's actually a few videos. I've got Joy and Angel flying over my head. That's wild. It's on the, find it in the short and sweet video section. That's a lot to take in. Some of the comments there have been hilarious over the years. It's headlights, it's this, it's that. Okay. But it is what it is. So that's the thing here, is you can try to knock all the reasons why it can't be out. But when you have an angel actually hold your hand, you're kind of screwed. Then at some point, it goes from outward and being intellectual to, holy cow, this just happened. And then you short circuit up here, you dropped your heart. That's the ultimate thing that happens. Scrooge Christmas Carol is my absolutely favorite example of that. You had the tough as nuts, down to dental floss for a life force guy who resisted everything. He was only about money and efficiency, as he saw it, and was forced in a very short period of time. That dream sequence with the ghost of Christmas past, present, future was actually happened in a very short order. So we all wish we could actually go through something like that, a life review, opportunities to change course, opportunities to embrace more love. That's all this is. Love is all there is. I have amazing quotes from angels on my Twitter account. I put them in maybe 500 emails, Twitter tweets, with quotes from Mother Teresa and angels and stuff like that. If you go back and look, I don't know how in 11 years I only have 170 followers. Hopefully that'll grow. If you can get in there and do whatever you do to click the button and follow it, that would be great. I could use all the support in the world right now. If you can watch the YouTube channel, subscribe, like, share, comment, that helps the algorithm pick up on this. We have, again, amazing guests. We have amazing stuff that technically happens during the show. A lot of the action happens before the show or after the show, if you're thinking angels and stuff like that. We've had a few amazing guests, a bunch of amazing guests meet angels before or after the show or months ahead of time, but a few have actually connected with their loved ones. I had one before the show connected with a relative who people would know and who is best-selling author and been on a famous show. And I had another whose relative was coming in during the show. And then after the show, they got to see their relative on a balcony where they live. I think I kept them anonymous there. And look, so it's no limits. This is a lot to allow for. But my suggestion for the seeing is the further away you look, like football fields away, the easier it is for your psyche, your brain, what you know, your ego, whatever you want to call it. It's not going away, unfortunately. All that thinking and knowing and rejecting and fear and worry and stress. But you can do a little less of it. The further away that it is, the easier it is to see and to let them do their jobs. So for Americans, I love saying this: get out of your head, into your heart. And I say that actually for everyone, but this part. Let them do their jobs. Get out of your own way. And that really resonates, I think, with all of us, but particularly with the American crowd. For some reason, Australians, New Zealanders, Canadians, people from India are just super like that. Hawaiians, there's a Hawaiian spirituality component to this. My guardian angel is an angel named Min, who's a Pacific princess. This is a silhouette of an angel. And you can get these photos for $3. The website design only let me name one price for all the photos. Angels gave me specific prices for each photo, from like $1 up to $3, maybe one $5 one. That's Min, the Lakota Sioux word for water, like Minnesota. Uwala is a Polynesian morning glory, or Ua and La, I think, is rain and sun in Hawaiian. The bottom line is just call her Min. But you can ask her to bring you wave action, eyes open, eyes closed. Eyes open, eyes closed. Everyone falls back to eyes closed for some reason, but it's maybe easier that way. You can hear the waves, you can smell the ocean, you can catch a little wind in your hair. You can get a vision. You can get a lot of clear visions. It's like Dreamtime Aboriginal style, but more lucid dreams. How about that? But it's even more so. And I love having people go to like the Middle East, an oasis setting, Tibet, India. You hang out with these figures with your eyes shut, and you have a direct sit down that could be a healing ceremony, a sort of graduation ceremony, a Q&A session. They just teach you stuff. You share food. There's music. Your relatives are always parked in the background, but it's a really big crowd, even though it's an India setting and you're sitting with like Sai Baba and Ganesh. Angels will bring you through. This is going to sound like a lot. Just think of this as an interdimensional lucid dream, but better than that experience. You can walk the Akashic records. You can do a Native American setting. I love Hawaii as the setting. But even though it's like India and you're dressed that way, Hollywood wardrobe, angels who are greeting you are dressed that way. It's like the best out of a Hollywood movie set. You really have a good time with this. You walk over, there's a space for you, rug, a mini puja, food, by a tree. The tiger and the divine mother can be there. Your relatives are parked far enough back they won't distract, but your whole crowd is there. It can be really big. And just because it's India, it doesn't mean there aren't a few Native American chiefs there, like Dolne for Church Geronimo. They are so fantastic. They're a little bit, they're very down to earth. Again, everyone knows your business. You're not getting judged, which is an incredible discrepancy, because you're like, whoa, people know what I just did 2 years ago and how I made that mistake, or I did this. They understand what it is to be human. They're still learning from us, which is a crazy concept as well. From our perspective, all these angels, light beings, these unconditional love figures are absolutely perfect, but there's constant learning and growth even for them. But they're absolutely the best for getting any advice. You have to get over yourself. This isn't really about photos, the videos, people doing this as a group. Again, I'm off the hook. The 100 plus written, 82 written, 18 video testimonials, plus the show itself. We have 88 shows booked through into late September now of 2024. This isn't about all the stuff that checks all the boxes, eyes open, eyes closed, seeing light pass by, seeing auras or just energy or consciousness between people around your dog. This is about each individual and what will they allow for. And that's where, the whole self-importance thing, you could be the top psychologist in productivity, happiness, or relationships, and you're the #1 New York Times bestselling author. You've been on the list for 900 weeks now, the record, but you won't allow for any of this. Or you could be the #1 angel expert, but you don't want to actually meet angels. I've had that. I'm the idiot or the guy who's super patient and learning patience now. And I didn't mean idiot in a pejorative way. I just mean I'm the dummy who set out on a path 11 or 12 years ago to knock on everyone's door. And I love Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. Persig has since passed away, but what a beautiful author, what a beautiful person who did a lot for all of us. I got to talk to his assistant when he was in hospice, and that was a great conversation with him. There's a quote from that book that he did, which is, truth comes knocking on the door and you yell, go away, I'm looking for the truth. That is absolutely all of us. We don't always recognize when the universe is bringing us something on a platter and it's an opportunity. We are usually shut tight like an oyster one way or the other, and can't blame anybody. I have people who have completely rejected me, 7 years ago, who don't remember that, and then either come on the show or do the service, give me a testimonial. It's been a long curve for me to not react and not be like, oh my God, what just happened? And then you take it on the chin for a while, and it's a bummer. I mean, I do trail running, I do running. And back when we lived in Austin, I remember going on trail runs to try to shed the rejection. It's been constant rejection for a decade plus, but I have constant yeses too, which is just super special. Sylvia Brown always tells me the big yes is coming and to keep my chin up. It's a learning curve. I get tons of support about this. I think I've finally don't care as much anymore about what anybody thinks, not even big institutes or the researchers or this expert or that expert. They're missing the boat if they don't understand that angels are fully here, present. There's only now is now. The only time is now. Everything happens right now. To me, it makes no difference whether I say, hey, let's do this in 2 years. Let's do it in 2 days. Let's do it right now. The person will simply figure it out when they figure it out. It may not even be this lifetime. For a lot of people, it's 2 lifetimes from now, and that's okay. There's no slide rule that says actuarial table that says it has to happen now. But the cool thing is flip a coin, get a twister wheel and spin it. When it hits yellow, you win. Anytime you want, you can just do this. That's thinking. And that's your heart. You can be open anytime you want. You can open openness and get to here anytime you want. So what will you allow for is the rub. And that's the bummer and the opportunity. It's the challenge. It's the opportunity for growth. It's actually here and now. That whole heaven on earth, Eckhart Tolle, Power of Now. I'm missing his other amazing book that I have 3 copies of sitting on my shelf. I used to mention it all the time. Use Tyler Henry, James Van Praagh, the classic psychics or mediums. Nikki Bodine, I want to do a shout out for her right now. We taped her episode for March. Holy cow, I was not expecting for her to do a tarot card reading for me, which she did ahead of the show. I have to do a shout out for her. She does psychic / tarot cards, meaning classic tarot cards to help set the table, but she is totally talented. Oh my gosh. She nailed exactly like the last 6 months, where I'm at and what's going on in the future. I don't know how to just pour more praise onto her skills. She's super shy, super structured in terms of she knows her boundaries, and she's very, very set in her setup. So she's hyper efficient. None of what I'm saying is going to be appealing if you're up here, because you're like, ooh, better not. Or yes, I agree with Mike. That sounds good. It resonated, but we'll do it next year. One day, someday, like Night and Day, that Tom Cruise movie. One day I'll get to go on vacation. One day I'll start living my life. One day I'll be more in my heart and be more happy and sparkly. None of that exists. That's just the ego putting it off and taking control. And the ego has a way that even if you walked with angels 5 days in a row, by the 7th day, your ego will have found a way to package it up, get you busy. You're cleaning out the garage, and a month later you realize I haven't walked with angels, talked with angels, gotten a hug from an angel. I've forgotten. I mean, humans forget constantly. Even if you just did this, got open, you're seeing angels over my shoulder, a ball light goes through the screen, you feel waves of compassion, you see pink light swoosh you, butterflies all around me, Disney style, made by angels. You're still going to get shut tight like an oyster again, and welcome to being human. That's the whole ebb and flow thing. So I love how Yoda says, no try. I love all the Star Wars movies. That philosophy jibes completely with being in alignment with who you are. But Archangel Gabriel says, always try. And they're both correct. That's why there's duality. And any statement that I say, most of it can be read one way or read another, depending on if you're here or if you're up here. That's the actual crux or rub here. What will you allow for? Can you allow for more love? And if you can, your eyes start to really open. You open your eyes more. Mary said there's love in absolutely everything, and all you have to do is open your eyes to see love. It's a shifting of your own consciousness, your own awareness of what you'll allow for, what you'll allow to see in and around you. And that's tasting, that's feeling, that's sensing, that's hearing, seeing, if I didn't already say that. So it's the classic spiritual journey. You don't have to be Sinbad anymore. You don't have to be Ulysses. You don't have to be, I mean, most of these Hollywood films are somehow reflecting this, sometimes with a lot of violence. The movie Revolver by Guy Ritchie with Jason Statham, if I said it right, woof, the end of that movie where he recognizes his own ego's voice. You have 2 voices in your head. They both sound like you. One, if it's completely positive, shiny, and love, that's just your higher self, soul, angels coming through, your grandmother who's passed over but is unconditional love, part of your cheerleading squad. you would freak out if it was actually your grandmother's voice. If you're in the middle of a golf course, you're in a tournament, you're about to hit a hole in one, you know you're on fire, and you go like this, and you hear grandmother's voice come in, or Archangel Michael or Gandhi, you would absolutely drop the club, probably quit the tournament, and spend the next week trying to figure out what happened. That's not the way it rolls. They're not here to shock you, scare you, blow the golf tournament for you. They are here to love and support you. And you do have like a giant slalom course in the Olympics or something. You have certain gates you're supposed to hit on your life path in life. Angels will make sure those gates get hit. That's what you signed up for. And I don't mean hit. I mean, you pass through them gracefully, or at least on one ski losing your balance, but they get you through the gate. I had angels toss me over the fence on the concept of just ghosts existing. At the beginning of this, I was grabbing every psychic I could find and shaking them and saying, what's going on? Can you please help me? I think we all want another person to do our listening for us. I think that's a natural thing. I think it's perfectly fine. Go hire James Van Praagh, wait on the 600,000 person waiting list for Tyler Henry. He's fantastic. He'll bring you your relatives through who will give you the words. The Long Island medium, Teresa Caputo. My opportunity for growth is everyone's names, getting the spelling right. Oh, oy vey. Those folks are all great. Nikki Bodine, tap her, grab her. And there's a Michelle Clare in Arizona, Gilbert, Arizona, who's just also fantastic, has had 3 near-death experiences. She'll be a guest in a couple weeks. She was a guest last year. I absolutely love her vibe. There's the whole law of attraction thing, Esther Hicks, but many other authors and sources as well, Abraham Hicks. Abraham to me is a bunch of light beings, some angels maybe. They give great advice and reminders, and that's what this is about. We forget all the time, but we have an opportunity to remember, if we can remember, to remember. Now, I thought that was the one original thing I've been saying for a decade plus, but a book fell off a shelf at a Texas, we'll call it a used bookstore, or a bookstore that's very popular here, a chain that's in many states. And the book was by Songyal Rinpoche. I finally learned how to say Rinpoche correctly. I mispronounce a lot of stuff too. Sorry about that. But Songyal Rinpoche, I'm not sure if he's still alive or not, did a foreword for a Tibetan Book of Dying, Tibetan Book of Dying, and there's a million of those. But it's a pretty famous book. He did the foreword to it, and he talks about blah, 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 blah. And as I've taught my students for 35 years, remember to remember. And I was like, that was the one thing I hung my hat on as an original phrase. I'm sure I got it from Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche. I'm sure he fed me that line, but that's really what this is about, is remember to remember, if you can remember to remember. Just allow more, breathe more. Don't try if you're up here. Always try if you're here. And now I'm trying to show you the duality of this, which is back to all the Buddhist and Zen koans, sayings. I love Joshu. There's a beautiful book. I have a suggested reading page of incredible books and movies that, a lot of them you've already heard. They're the mainstream books and so on, but I think there's some small gems in there as well. Paulo Coelho, The Alchemist, you see the man who's learned, professor maybe, or with all the books, and you see the boy who's learning to discover their unique life path and where their personal treasure is right here, not to blow the book, but you see them intermix and realize it's the Reese's peanut butter cup thing. You got my chocolate into your peanut butter, or your peanut butter in my chocolate, and you see those two mix a little bit better. And I love that book. It's a gorgeous 100-page parable. Christmas Carol, 79 pages. See the movie. Dan Millman, Peaceful Warrior, absolutely see that movie. Nick Nolte at his best as the gas station attendant, who's really a Mr. Miyagi figure. But look at like Joe Shu, and I have this quote somewhere on my website. The student comes running up to the master and says, "What about it when I try to be Buddha?" And the master says, "What a tremendous waste of energy." And then the student tries to come back with another, "What happens when I don't waste energy?" "Then you are Buddha," the teacher says. So I'm not going to say everything up here is a waste of energy. You're going to waste tons of energy, and you're going to do tons of thinking and judging and reacting and fear and stress and worry. Welcome to being human. And that's where if you just do 7% less of this, again, not knocking ego, psyche, thinking, otherwise you'd walk around with a baseball bat hitting yourself in the head trying to get rid of thinking. And that's the last thing this culture or society needs, is another witch hunt of some sort, that people who think are bad, that would be the end of humanity. So it's the opposite. Can you take a breath? Can you have that recognition that Soul Surfer, Bethany Hamilton, had in the movie, the actress, when she got out of the water and saw Helen Hunt, I think, and said, Mom, I figured it out. I'm not hung up anymore over having a shark bite off my arm. I'm ready to get going. What do I do now? And the mom's like, hey, be in your heart, live, love, and allow life to unfold, essentially. That's all of us. We get caught up in drama. We get caught up in our illness. We get caught up in what happened to us 6 years ago and hold on to our divorce. Frank is a jerk. Sarah's a jerk. This happened to me. I love that expression you see in that football soccer series on Apple. Ted Lasso. Events don't happen to us, they happen for us. And then many guests last year on the show said the same thing. And you almost need to hear something, either the same thing, like let go, breathe, allow, 1,000 times. And at the 1,001th time, at the 2000th time, you finally go, oh my God, I've been hearing this over and over again. The universe has been telling me this. Mike's been telling me this. My cousin's been telling me this. I've been telling myself I should actually do it. And you take a breath and you let go. And that situation you thought that was such a big deal isn't such a big deal anymore. That's the whole Einstein quote that, again, came up in a show last year. The consciousness that says my problem is, my drama is, my situation isn't the same consciousness that allows you to move past it, and so on. So consciousness, awareness, what you'll allow for, ebbs and flows. Our personality, another one of those Joshu Buddhist Zen quotes from a master to a student. Master, tell me the nature of my personality, my reality. And the teacher says, the professor says, the Zen master says, tell me your likes and dislikes. Might have been just dislikes, but I think it's tell me your likes and dislikes. Where are you putting your poker chips on the table of life as you go gambling with your energies? Can you understand there's a difference? Hot stove up here and heaven on earth here, or love, or peace, or kindness, or gentleness, or compassion, or all the above, opening openness, or just being one with all, or feeling the flow of nature and life. It's one big, shiny, sparkly universe. And anytime you're ready to take a bite, it's there. It's like one big warm apple pie with a dollop of whipped cream. I've never said that before, but that was a good one. Again, your relatives are ready to meet you, chat with you. I always do angels first, so you can kind of crack that egg or crack your opening. Your ball of energy is so much bigger than you'll ever allow for. And so that's what's kind of cool, is everyone needs a little reminder just to not take life so seriously, their situation so seriously, and especially themselves so seriously. That's a real rub. A lot of the male people that I've met over the last decade, if they do tighten up afterwards, they're taking everything a little seriously. It can be hard to stay in touch with me, and then 5 years later, you're over it, or over yourself, or over the reaction you had to having so much openness or experiences that are beyond thinking. You can try to grasp this as much as you want. You're going to get this far. It's not about grasping. It's not about more thinking. It's about less thinking. It's about being here. And so for the people who are just like, oh, this is so easy, it's so obvious, it's so simple, that's what this is about. And that's where the scientific community, tends to be more oriented around rigidity. There's a lot of intellectual communication going on. If you could take the 5,000 tweets or 40,000 tweets that have happened on the UAP, UFO disclosure front, and all the, Freedom of Information Act requests, congressional hearings, and everything else, that's great. Why wouldn't someone just want to hang out with a light being, chat with them first, and realize, oh, it's more touchy-feely and big and broad, and yes, have a more patient, compassionate approach to the humans that are kind of waging battles intellectually to try to get stuff done at the human level. Oh, I didn't even say that right. Look, you can have any answers to any questions. You can experience more love. You can share more love. That's what this is really about. That's what more consciousness, more interdimensionality, more fun, more sparkle, more zip, more capacity for all of us to be here on planet Earth. Hopefully I'm not pushing any boundaries too much here. I don't think I'm saying anything really new, except I know that at least my experience and what I've witnessed, because I feel like I've gone to the four corners of the internet, not on the earth, the travel budget, not quite there yet. But, whether it's the Hindu traditions, the Buddhist traditions, the NDE traditions, the scientific traditions, the consciousness groups, IONS, and the researchers, the ex-astronauts who do this, do that, the congressmen, the holistic spiritual healers, everyone's doing something their way. And again, they're going to keep doing what they're doing perfectly in alignment with the way they're rolling here or here. Perfect. God bless them. Keep going. Do exactly what you're doing now. But for those who simply want to pay attention more, let go more, remember more, you get to transact and do more love with the universe. Again, you can walk the Akashic records. You can see your higher self as more light. You can get that past life stuff as detail, as background. Don't get too caught up in that if that's my 2 cents. You definitely just heard me inject an opinion there. But you get to meet your cheerleading squad. So that's angels who, if you're an author, you've got kind of muses or co-authors that are helping you. If you're an athlete, you definitely have athletic angels. You have a limo driver. If this stage in life is a stage, 2 weeks, 2 days, 2 years, 20 years, you have a specific angel helping you in this life stage. Now, I like to sometimes say it's about lessons, and it is and it isn't. That's not necessarily the right way to say it, but there's learning that's happening. And so a lot of this can be oriented around mini missions or stages or learning. And once something's accomplished, you move on to the next thing, whether it's a lesson stage and so on. And you're getting all the help in the world. Just because an angel was here to help you with one thing and you finally learn to let go of it and move on to the next, it doesn't mean that angel's gone forever. They're part of your crew, but we're so limited in our bandwidth that we can only kind of focus on a few figures at once at a time. I think that's about it I'm going to say for today, except let's get to some practical and tactical. I wrote an angels book called Listening to Angels. It's been a 2-time #2 bestseller. No one gets to say that. A 2-time #2 bestseller in angels. Everyone's a bestseller. I'm a #2 bestseller, which I think is the best. One day, #1. I don't know if it was 2 book sales short of being #1. I'll never know right now. I know this book will be good in the future because it's actually written by angels. I saw balls of light as I was typing. It was $4.99 forever, and I kept asking angels, can I finally boost the price? Blame inflation, the economy, and everything. But I finally got a yes. I kept asking, never expected to get a yes after a while. You get enough no's, or not now, as a response. And it's now $7.99 on Amazon and everywhere else, but you'll find it for $7.49. It's a complete value if you want to look at it this way. There's at least 6 or 7 angel photos in there or more. Each one of those would be $3 on my website. The book is legit. You can feel the energy in it. If you're in a bad mood, you'll never want to touch it. You would never need me. You can just follow the instructions in the book to listen to angels, get hugs. Archangel Michael's in there, Gabriel, Joy, Charlotte, Min, Dale, Penelope. I don't know if I'm at 7 yet. There's a chance Heather's in there as well. I think that's the 7. If Gabriel's not in there, you can still figure out how he's in there. I'll leave it at that. So it might be 8 technically. The epilogue by Dale is incredible. Dale coached an Olympic athlete who won a lot of golds, not to beat other people, but to live their unique life path. You can talk to angels directly about this. Kick me out of the way. Don't take any of my word for anything. Just you do it all directly. That's why I love being in this position. It's a direct. Did I say direct experience? But he wrote an epilogue to the book. There's no way I could have written any of this. If anybody is like, no, you wrote the book, there's no way angels wrote the book, then I say thank you, because you just gave me a Nobel laureate, a Pulitzer, and name something else, an Emmy and an Oscar all wrapped up into one. So thank you. But angels clearly wrote it because it's compassionate, loving, kind, makes sense sort of writing. It's clear, concise, straight from angels. It's incredible. The epilogue by Dale, though, puts life and what's going on, our journey, our soul's journey, our growth into an undergraduate degree and a graduate degree. The undergraduate degree is understanding the difference in flows here and here. Again, awareness, consciousness, love, thinking, rejecting, worry, fear, stress. I think most people just say fear or ego. It locks us up tight. It forces a particular slant on everything that we look at, what we think our life situation is. I've got to be this religion. I've got to be this cultural, spiritual thing. I've got to just do this practice. I can't be flexible. You plot along on a much slower path. and a lower path. How about that for vibration? And he talks about, undergraduate degree and a graduate degree is your unique life path. Once you've gotten your undergraduate degree, you're ready to get learning and get growing and get experiencing. And that's your unique life path. Angels are here like this, totally ready to go anytime you are. It could be when you're 88 and you're only going to live to 93, but it's never too late. That's the thing. You're not getting judged on this. Just like if you can kick me out of the way, kick what you know out of the way and go sparkly, pick your favorite Hollywood film, your moment, your happiest moment back 20 years ago. That's what this is tapping into that energy to let go, to get past your details, to get into your heart and interact more with the universe. You're doing it all the time. Angels come in all shapes, sizes, and colors, all sorts of backgrounds from really far out. It could be, I'm going to have to take this with a grain of salt, but it could be, your relative 2 generations back who's so love, giving him an angel label. I don't know. Let's just say they come in all shapes, sizes, colors, all sorts of purposes and specific skills. It doesn't mean one angel couldn't do the whole job. If you also wanted to stick with one question for the rest of your life. So what I'm trying to say is this isn't about any one thing. I mean, the second everyone starts listening to angels and light beings, oh my God, it's going to be just another, you'll see more certification charts and groups and institutes, and it's got to be this way only on Tuesdays with your left foot up in the air. I mean, humans have a way of just absolutely taking something that was fun, open, and amazing, and then running with it. But angels come in all shapes, sizes, and colors. They live in and around you. They're learning from us technically, but from our perspective, they're absolutely not infallible, but pretty close to perfect. They definitely give great advice. They can see your whole life path. They can see your past lives. I'm going to argue, and this is just coming from angels, that it's all concurrent. That's stretching the mind. I'll never get my head around that. But the more love you do here, the more it bleeds into your past, into your future, and through the dimensions to your other selves. How about that? Let's go all Marvel. I mean, that's why look at every movie has a reason for being a certain way that it is to help push your consciousness out. The Marvel universe stuff and the interdimensionality there has come a long way for trying to shape how we roll. It's always bigger than we think it is, again, because it's not about thinking. So I keep going back to the scientific community because they're easy sitting ducks. They know what they know for about a week. They say, here's the latest discovery. Look at the research paper, the stats, the citations. And then 2 weeks later, somebody else, Joe in Denmark, comes along and blows that out of the water. And now there's a new marker. It isn't about putting push pins in the map on the wall of discoveries. This is about, I mean, yes, you can have any answers to any questions. This is about openness itself, more consciousness, more flow. Look at the movie 2001 Space Odyssey or 2010. Woo! Look at Shakespeare. It doesn't have to be recent. To be or not to be, that's the question. To be, not to be. And I love Einstein. I love so many of these figures. They're helping me. I asked the same question 100 times in 2 years and get the same answers, and I still have to ask the question again. And I'll often hear, breathe, allow, let go, relax, trust more, worry less, let everything unfold. So that's what's been going on. We all are going through our unfolding. Oh, I'm going to light some sage for us. I'm going to blow with the feather through the 2 screens. And all you have to do is silently, don't get caught at a supermarket doing this. Just say, hey, angels, get me out of my head, into my heart. Help me smell sage from Texas, from Michael. And you may be in Iowa, you may be in Australia, New Zealand, Canada right now, Germany. It may be 2028, 3032, 2032. And you're doing this in the future, but time isn't what you think it is. You know that from vacations in your college, university class when the teacher was boring or exciting. 1 hour stretched into 2, or 1 hour felt like 15 minutes. The same goes when you close your eyes to sit with angels. 10 minutes here is really 15 minutes over there. Catch the scent of sage. Give yourself permission to let go. Ask your higher self to get involved. Ask your relatives to help you, your Amakua, your ancestors. Ask angels, light beings. Ask Gandhi to help, Einstein, whoever you believe in. That's the important thing, is whatever you believe in is what you believe in. I'm not asking you to change a single belief. I'm simply asking that, can you give yourself a break on spending too much energy up in the brain and get to your heart? And that's what I love about some of these classic healers who will be on the show this year in 2024 and next year. They figured out a way to help you out of here to get to here, out of your head, into your heart, to be more love, share more love, and allow for more love, which is all that matters. If you can on YouTube, go ahead and click like, subscribe, share, put a comment down. Just be like, I smelled sage. I've got that on the website. People who have smelled sage or seen light or felt the presence of an angel, they've put comments, and I've tried to put them up on the website. Pretty soon I'm going to get overwhelmed and never be able to do that again. But if you can hit the play all button on those listening lists on YouTube, that helps a lot for accumulating listening hours. We're this close to the final measurement of what YouTube counts as, being able to set up shop more and enjoy some of the perks of YouTube. So we need all the support we can get. I'm asking for assist here. Share with a friend, anybody who's, quote, spiritual, been to India, done a Native American healing ceremony, anybody who can appreciate the concept of love being around us and in us. This should be a very fun show, Angels, Positivity, and Love. And I try to share as much as I can. Absolutely come and book a session. I've got the best deal is the one for, I think it's $750 or so. You grab 4 people and you get 2.5. I always go over, but say 3 hours, 2.5 hours. I try to give you the works, but that comes out to, I think it's $175 per person. It might be $700 for 2.5 hours, but you have to find 3 other people. That's 4 of you, and you have to all be able to show up at once. Sometimes our ego prevents us from showing up. The car battery dies, the cousin calls, they've got cancer, all sorts of stuff literally has happened over the past decade plus. You can't be surprised by it. And it's your opportunity to recognize, where should you be putting yourself in that moment? Sometimes it's okay to put stuff off and not meet angels. Other times you want to stay the course and actually show up because you have a huge heart. That's the message. Everyone is on their journey. Everyone is getting exactly what they need in each moment. Everyone is making choices. The fact that you don't recognize a micro choice or a mini choice or an unconscious choice that you made, it's not, that doesn't give you an excuse. I don't know how to say it. You're still responsible for all of your energy. When you flow through here, let's say we're talking about that neighbor in your 4,000 home community, and we all agree that the neighbor 75 houses down is a jerk. That does no good for yourself. When you label someone else a jerk, it's obvious they're a jerk, but you're creating negativity that swirls around in you, and you're also limiting them on their own unique life path. They may be your uncle from another past life, and they may be specifically on your path to remind you of something, to toughen you up, help you learn your own lesson. So everything is an opportunity for expansion, awareness, growth. Everything is an opportunity to show more love, shine more love. And your sparkliness and your love may help shift that Scrooge over there to accelerate their learning and their love and their journey to their heart. Now, it may not be this lifetime that they embrace anything. They're a true jerk. We could all agree on that. But what use does that serve to really lay in on someone any more than just briefly saying, ooh, I don't appreciate that? Do your boundaries, learn to switch your focus back to a pleasant, loving, sharing, kind, compassionate experience. Okay, so there are photos of angels. They'll move, they'll change color if it's light energy and light energy form. There's some silhouettes of angels. Play-Doh on my website. You can see the old man's face. Get a fist pump, get a tap on the shoulder. Do not get a hug. They're sweaty. Play-Doh is so fantastic for hearing about your particular life stages. I do a lot of shorts on YouTube. They're sometimes 3 or 4 seconds. Pause those or play them over and over again. Or I hold a card up, a photograph up. You can ask a question, you can get an answer. You can get a hug. Ask for a hug, feel a hug. 1 million ways to feel a hug. You've got the book. You've got Glow Stick Zen, which is this ginormous book that I wrote as I was popping or opening up. And it was really a lot of angels, Mary, Buddha, and others speaking through. 2/3 of it is written by them. 1/3, we'll call it the bad part, not putting myself down, but the part that's like zany, funny. I use Star Trek analogies, Star Wars analogies, talk about all the other spiritual authors out there and try to highlight some of their most important points. I definitely worked very hard on that. I think it's 1,300 pages, but depending on your device, your reader, the font size and everything, it goes all the way up to like, I think 3,000 pages or something. Again, I think it's 1,300 is the base minimum level. There's like 300 photographs in there. It's my artwork. It's my photography. I sprinkle that in, but it's broken up into 22 individual like $10 books on Amazon. It's one big baby for $200 at Apple. I think only a dozen people have ever looked at that, but it's worthwhile. what should not be possible in a book, which is helping you trek up the mountain. And as Nietzsche said, ego is the dog or shadow that follows you up that mountain. Now, at the mountaintop, there's beautiful views. You've shed your ego, you're open. And that's the entire point of the book, is to help you figure out your way of letting go. But you can't live at the top of the mountain. As Buddhists or Zen folks will tell you, you have to get further back down into the valley where life is happening, where you got to pay the bills, you got to still interact with other people. You can't get rid of your cell phone, but you can let it be your Zen master. So there's something wonderful going on here. I'm still figuring it out. I have yet to begin to use all that I've got. I can still be shy about that. But I am looking to be able to interact more at a broader level for people. Again, you can see angels full on standing before you. You can have them interact with you, that if you had them as a human in front of you, you could reach out, pinch them. They would probably pinch you back. I usually get scrambled fully and, barely know how to speak, when in the past I've had angels show up. I've had some really funny experiences. So I've tried to share those either during the show or during some of these talks. But take a look at what you can take a look at. Again, here's Archangel Michael for folks. You can ask for an ocean smell or breeze. You can close your eyes, pause this if you want. Ask for a sage smell to come in, or flowers. What will you allow for? Here's a Claire who's resilience. Dogs and cats have guardian angels. The veil is a lot thinner. It's really just what we're resisting up here, what we'll allow for, that this is all about. So you can allow more, love more, have more fun. Thank you very much for today. I'll hit the stop on this. I'll get this out. It's January. Happy 2024. Try not to be shy about this. I know everyone pitches their particular practice or their books, or they're doing this retreat coming up. This is really all angels. I got very fortunate with photos of fairies, angels. Again, there's a jinn who's wonderful. And everything that I try to do for folks is a direct experience. And there's no reason. Everyone's technically a healer. You're on your healing path when you're here, and you can help others. Just your laughter alone is healing and hope to others, to quote Joy the angel, the first angel that everybody meets. Here's a fairy named Ginger. You can see a little bit of rainbow light on her wings. Let me make sure I can see that. Yep. For years, I never saw that rainbow light, but there it is. She's got a really high-pitched voice. You can see her as a teenager 6 houses down, or up on that mountaintop that, you live on a hill, look up the hill. She might just be leaning out from a tree. She'll put her wings out, turn into a ball of light, and boy, will you get to witness how fast you short circuit in the brain. Your jaw will drop. If you go like this, close your eyes and hear ready, you can look down and see her in the classic little way, like out of an animated Disney movie. I have seen more jaws drop, and I watched the brain short circuit, but the heart leaps for joy. The same goes for Audrey Hepburn's photo. Check it out on like my website or on one of the shows, or just find it on the internet. She'll wink, smile, shoulder waggle. She is just absolutely marvelous. Catch an uninvented perfume from Paris. No limits is no limits. We operate in a limited world. I love the Queen of Hawaii and how she talks in heaven, it's but one, but on earth, everything is two. It's the duality again. So what are you going to do? Have as much fun, love as much as you can, laugh about all this, let go any part of it that kind of stuck or that got stuck in your throat a little. Don't take any of this too seriously, but just know that help, which is what we all tend to need, healing, more love, more patience, both from around us and within us, and all these unconditional love allies, it's always available. And in turn, when you start to allow for that extra flow of love, you're in a better position to support others. And I think that's what a beautiful healer does, is constantly refreshes to be able to then offer loving support so people can get living more, loving more on their own unique life path in life. This has been Michael André Ford, your American Angel Intuitive in San Antonio, Texas these days. Please check out my show, Angels, Positivity, and Love. Right now, Kelly Noonan-Gores, film director of Heal with Deepak Chopra, Dr. Joe Dispenza, Greg Brady, Michael Bernard Beckwith, Bruce Lipton, Marianne Williamson. She has a wonderful 2017 film that's won awards, been featured in the film festivals on the opening night. But her 2019 book by Beyond Words and Atria Publishing, Atria Books by Simon & Schuster is also fantastic. Check that out. She left a lot of stuff on the cutting room floor when she made the movie, and that's available in the book, the 2019 book Heal by Kelly Noonan Gores. Please go in, hit the play button on that, hit the like button, share something that you enjoyed. The algorithm picks that up, and this show can get out to many, many more people so that they can enjoy even just the concept that this might be a possibility, that angels exist. Somebody's got photos of angels. You can see angels full on, and that you could just let them do their jobs if you don't mind. Okay, thank you very much. Happy 2024.